bwe tuwa ku kigambo ky'abasiraamu ba Uganda, abakyala abasiraamu ba Uganda yonna ne bweteekamu biliyoni 10 si kyamaanyi tuziteekamu
250 million shillings.
President
250 million shillings.
Yoweri Museveni's donation of 250 million shillings was received with jubilation.
This is Museveni telling us what he told Muammar Gaddafi in his early days. Museveni.
When I went to see Gaddafi, he said, "What can I do for you?" I said, "Your Excellency, I want a rifle and bullets." You don't want money? I said, "No, once I have the gun and the bullets, I will get the money myself."
He says, "I want a rifle and a bullet." Gaddafi says, "You don't want money?" He says, "No, don't give me money. Give me a rifle and a bullet." That is Museveni philosophy, showing you that how about you ask for a hook instead of having to be given a fish.
That's why Mr. Museveni has officially hundreds of millions of shillings for donation of our money, which he can donate as he wants. Formally.
And yes, indeed, presenting to you from these United States of the America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're watching me and at whatever time you might watch this conversation. My name is Mordecai Murisa, and you're welcome to Mordecai Murisa Live. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, we're going to be discussing a very important question. Where is all this money Museveni is giving out coming from? I know it is your money. It is my money. It is taxpayers' money. But where is it coming from? And do we have any person that's going to ask questions where all this money is coming from? You know, gone are the days when people in Uganda used to ask questions about Museveni giving out money. I'll play you a story here. It is 12 years ago when Museveni held a sack of money and was giving it out. And the moment he did that, there was a public debate over what he had done. And it was pretty much normalized at that point. Now, if you really want money, go plead to him. Cry if you can. Simp. Reduce yourself to just a mere beggar and you get the money. Nobody, not a media house, nor investigative reporters are going to come out and try to ask, where is all this money Museveni is giving out or even promising coming from? Let me first play you this story. This is 12 years ago on NTV when Museveni was splashing out money. Watch here, and then I'll give my commentary.
I contribute to your activities 250 million shillings.
President
250 million shillings.
Yoweri Museveni's donation of 250 million shillings was received with jubilation. Cash. Money.
The reporter is putting emphasis on that. Cash. Money. Listen here to what she says.
250 million shillings was received with jubilation. Cash. Money. Wrapped in a sack. The president wanted to ensure that the money is utilized for the intended purposes. This action, however, has sparked public debate.
You know, that action sparked public debate. This is 12 years ago. Now, fast forward to 2026, Museveni met a group of content creators in Uganda and promised to give them 5 billion shillings. 5 billion with a B shillings to these folks. Museveni recognizes content creators as wealth generators to support them with 5 billion shillings. Where is all this money coming from? Let's read here a few lines. It says, President Museveni has acknowledged the role of content creators in Uganda's wealth creation chain, pledging 5 billion to support a circle for organized groups within the sector. Speaking on the importance of promoting local products, Museveni described what content creators do as modern sales promotion, helping people discover goods and encouraging purchases. He doesn't really care. The reason that's why is actually meeting these content creators is so that he can manipulate them into being on his side. He's buying them with money because he started with doing this to journalists. He did it with musicians, and all was targeting Bobby Wine. When he did it with journalists to make sure that they don't stand with Bobby Wine, then he did it with musicians by organizing them into a group that sang for him that song Tubonga Nawe. Bobby Wine consciously refused to be part of it. And since then, he's not allowed to organize any event, any show, any concert. Besides that, Bobby Wine is not allowed to even be hosted on shows where he's going to be seen. His music is pretty much banned. Even his political works are banned. So when he says that he's meeting content creators and he recognizes them as a group of folks that contribute to the economy of Uganda, he doesn't really care. But that's besides the point. That's just a side note. Let's focus on the very important question. Where is all this money coming from? And I understand too, Museveni apologists are going to look at me and be like, Mordecai, you're ill-intended. You don't want these people to have money. And to those folks, I say, I don't have your time. We need to ask a very important question. Where is all this money coming from? I'll play you another one where Museveni, and like I said, Museveni understands that giving out money doesn't solve problems. I'll play you here. Like I said, Museveni knows that splashing out money doesn't fix problems. This is Museveni telling us what he told Muammar Gaddafi in his early days. Museveni.
When I went to see Gaddafi, he said, "What can I do for you?" I said, "Your Excellency, I want a rifle and bullets." "You don't want money?" I said, "No, once I have the gun and the bullets, I will get the money myself."
He says, "I want a rifle and a bullet." Gaddafi says, "You don't want money?" He says, no, don't give me money. Give me a rifle and a bullet. That is Museveni philosophy, showing you that how about you ask for a hook instead of having to be given a fish. When he met Gaddafi, he says, "Don't give me money." I'm thinking that some of folks within his circle thought that, hey, we actually need some money. We can use it to buy ABC stuff. But he says, no. I want a rifle and a bullet because he was in a guerrilla war against the government of Apple Milton Obote and the government of the Idi Amins and Tito Okello, to mention but a few. He says, you know what? While I understand money is very important, don't give me money. I want a rifle, I want a gun, and I want a bullet.
How about the medicine? Say, don't worry about that. How about clothes? I say, don't worry about clothes. Even a naked man can shoot you. Don't worry.
They laugh. Usually they laugh for no reason. But you understand here. You understand the point. Museveni said to Muammar Gaddafi, former president of Libya, when he was fighting the dictatorial governments in Uganda, says, okay, what kind of help do you need? Gaddafi was asking Museveni. I want a rifle and a bullet. Don't give me anything else. Don't give me money. But Museveni, who believes in that philosophy, then is now opposed to that. Every group he meets, he promises them money. And we shall get more to that point. Why is he doing this? But I have more videos to show you here. I think there was a guy here, Alan, who asked, he said, "Sente zogaba bwocho nga marwayo temuli dagala otegezachi." You're splashing all this money out. Yet hospitals do not have equipment. They don't have drugs. I mean, I've been watching videos today of kids who are struggling in schools. They don't have where to sit. They don't have uniforms. They don't have even food. But Museveni is splashing out 5 billion shillings. Listen here.
Njagala kumwebaza kati abakyala sente zanabaweereza obuwumbi bubiri ngenda kuzirondoola naye kiyinzika kuba nti tezimala kubanga muli bangi n'olwekyo bwe tuwa ku kigambo ky'abasiraamu ba Uganda abakyala abasiraamu ba Uganda yonna ne bweteekamu biliyoni 10 si kyamaanyi tuziteekamu.
Listen to that. And then he keeps on, he enjoys this very nefarious way of leadership. Divide people into groups. Now, he's speaking to Muslim women in Uganda. There's a group of, we need to facilitate for Muslim women. The next time you'll find him, if he decides to meet journalists, he says, okay, I think I need to meet her. Let's break them into pieces. I need to meet her. News Anchors Association of Uganda. We need to give them 1 billion shillings. They says, okay, I think we need to meet now entertainment hosts on TVs and radio stations in Uganda. We need to give them 2 billion shillings. He keeps on dividing people. He wants to look at yourself as a separate, a different entity. You versus the other ones, the other group that doesn't do or look like you. It is a very, very bad way of leadership, but he does it deliberately. Oh, now, female Muslims in Uganda need to be catered for in a special way. It's sad. Again, always they clap. I'll show you more clip, more videos here. This is when he met folks in the north.
So I called leaders from Teso,
Okay, so
Acholi. I said, why don't we have?
Oh, jeez. This man has a T-shirt that has Museveni's picture. What level of reducing yourself to this simping is this? Like Museveni is so is watching a translator doing all this type of stupid simping.
A simpler formula.
Why don't
you simply do restocking for all the families slowly and we finish?
Okay, here he was, I'll read you here, the caption says, the cabinet met and advised me that instead of giving cows, we should give money to the communities affected by castle wrestling. The money is now in their accounts. Again, it is Museveni giving out money over and over again. Dr. Kizabesije at one time explained this concept of Museveni commercializing every sector of the economy or every sector, every lifestyles in Uganda. Why is he doing this? Listen to what Dr. Kizabesije had to say.
The commercialization of politics, so that all those who come into the political arena can be controlled. This then has included the patronage system, giving favors for the political elite, mainly favors of jobs, favors of money and means of getting money, business and so on.
Yep.
Led to the control of the elite by patronage. That's why Mr. Museveni has officially hundreds of millions of shillings for donation
Yep.
of our money, which is he can donate as he wants.
Yep.
Formally, that is the patronage system. This whole creation of factionalization of the country, chopping up to get
That's what I said. Exactly.
more districts, more sub-counties, more parishes, more what, so that they can appoint chiefs, can appoint RDCs, can appoint what, to give jobs for patronage.
Exactly. Like now you see that group, a faction of female Muslims in Uganda. The leader of that group looks at herself as some sort of a special that wields power because he's close to Museveni. And by that, she's able to control. She has a subject as well. It is really sad. Creates factions that end up looking at each other as enemies, opponents of some sorts. It's really sad. Okay, I still got more videos to show you here. Do I have... okay. I think I'll play you last about Eddie Kenzo made some ridiculous comments here. Okay. This is when Museveni met ghetto structures.
So now, because of that,
because of the
numbers.
Because of the
kati ku lwekyo olw'okuba nti emiwendo gy'abantu kati nga wano
In the towns
mu bibuga eby'enjawulo
is big.
ennamba yammwe omuwendo gw'abantu mungi guli waggulu.
Instead of 100 million, we can go to 1 billion per division.
Mu kifo ky'okugamba engalo ez'amaanyi mu Bwarabu.
I'll give you 1 billion per division. Ghetto structures. All this is a tool of control. He knows what he's doing. Okay.
President Museveni, in response, made a commitment to support the journalists by giving them grants through their circle groups. He encouraged them to form circles based in regions they come from.
I hear that the journalists want to have their circle. Oh, very good. I will support it. We shall go in the cabinet and sit and support those circles. Maybe, I think that maybe you can say by zone like Busoga, zone like Western Nile zone, because going to every district may be very tiresome, but like the zone, like Acholi, Lango, zone, if they have their circle there, we can, those are not many, there are 18 of them in the whole of Uganda. There are about 20. So if
another question here is, where's the Minister of Finance? There are line ministers in this position that are supposed to be doing this job. Why is it the job of the president to traverse the country promising people money? Why? When do we see the Minister of Finance or any other line ministry coming out to do their job? It tells you one thing. These are dummies. Nabanja is Prime Minister of Uganda. Give me a break. Jessica Lupo is Vice President of Uganda. Shut up. Or who else? Anita Among is Speaker. Dummy, remote controlled by Museveni. The folks who are supposed to be running these programs, these projects, where are they? They are not able to do this because this is some sort of an individualistic dictatorship where you do not take a credit from Museveni. He wants to be the only shining star. And the moment you're seen as someone providing solutions for other people, it is a threat to this individualistic dictatorship of Yoweri Museveni. That's why you saw when there was a lot of media surrounding John Patrick Amama Mbabazi, and many people giving him these fancy, stupid nicknames, Super Prime Minister. Nonsense. Super Prime Minister, Amama Mbabazi. And you have a few folks who had started now identifying with his politics and showing the potential of him winning an election. You saw what they did, and he went back to the criminal regime. It is so sad that ministers are going to be paid for doing nothing. I don't know if I can do that. If I was working somewhere and I'm only paid without doing a thing, I've had some people argue, I wish I could just come here and just relax. No, you don't. That's just a wish. But if they really told you, hey, just come at your workplace and just sit down and do nothing, you won't like it. You'll be like, okay, I've got to do something. Because there's something in you that tells you you've got to earn everything you get. Nothing comes on a silver platter. So, it is really sad that that's where we are. And now, as a conclusion, I'll play you this video of this very naive naive man. I feel sad for him, but hey, listen to Eddie Kenzo.
Mwami Kyagulanyi yennyini amuvuganya the leader of opposition here in Uganda. Alina ettaka Busabala buli eka ya milioni 8, alina over 10 acres plus. Ewe jasule Wangere buli ali ku eka 7, buli eka erimu milioni 6 plus. Alina amato ku nnyanja. Azadde akuzizza kati asomesa ne mu university naye agamba simusanyufu.
And you laugh, they laugh because that is content for I don't want to say that. Eddie Kenzo, let me show you something here. Maybe you might be able to read and understand this. Martin Luther King Jr., a man I'm named after, said life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? So if Bobby Wine is not happy, yet he has all this wealth you mentioned, it tells you something. That he's trying to say, he's reached the point where he recognizes that there's no joy in this wealth when the vast majority of people are suffering. He's trying to do something for other people. And not his family members or relatives or friends, absolutely not. But even those that he doesn't know will be here when he's way, way, way gone. So instead of admiring the selflessness of Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert, you scorn. You think it's a point of ridicule. You're devoid of common sense, of selflessness, and you take that as a badge of honor. It is sad, but continue enjoying that path of ignorance. And I hope that one day you have an epiphany and realize it is not about how much wealth you have, but how much your wealth is impacting other people's lives in a good way. Not necessarily your family members, that's obvious, but other people. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I said I need to make this commentary in English. I know some of you are not happy. Be like, Mordecai Dayomo Uganda. I will with time, but when I look at a few clips and most of them are in English, and I'm like, okay, this one is going to be in English. Then if it is Luganda, I'll be doing one in Luganda. So please stick around. My name is Mordecai Mrisa, still getting used to my new apartment. I've been moving stuff and I'm extremely exhausted. And I have to move my studio, put it somewhere. I'm going to make a few adjustments here and there. Please stick around. A lot of more new things are coming your way. I'll be back. Please stick around. My name is Mordecai Mrisa. Bye-bye for now.
Did you enjoy what you just watched?
I'm sure they did.
I'm going to guess that you did. How about you consider subscribing to Mordecai Marissa Live YouTube channel? Thank you.